There is a lion 3 feet from your head right now, and it already decided you weren't worth it. Not because you're safe, not because the world is kind, because something happened 2 million years ago that changed the relationship between humans and every apex predator on this planet. And that change is still running right now in the nervous system of every lion, wolf, and leopard alive today. Here's the part that will actually change how you see yourself. You are not prey. You never really were. And the reason goes so much deeper than most people ever stop to think about. Go back far enough, not hundreds of years, not thousands, but hundreds of thousands. And your ancestors weren't sleeping in houses or tents or even caves most of the time. They were sleeping on the open ground in the dark, surrounded by the most dangerous predators that have ever walked this earth. Saber-toothed cats, cave hyenas the size of lions, short-faced bears that stood 12 feet tall. And here's what those ancient humans figured out. Not with technology or weapons, but with something far more primal. They figured out how to be the scariest thing in the dark without even being awake. The first piece of this is something biologists call inherited fear, and it is brutal in the most fascinating way. Every large predator alive today is a descendant of animals that survived contact with humans. The ones that didn't survive, the ones that got too close, that tested the boundary, that decided sleeping humans were worth the risk, they're gone. Their bloodlines ended. What's left? The lions, the wolves, the leopards walking the earth right now are the genetic descendants of every predator that chose to walk away. That caution isn't learned behavior. It's not something a lion figures out from watching other lions. It's written into them. When a leopard picks up your scent at night and something in its body says move on, that's not instinct in the casual sense. That's 2 million years of your ancestors, making it very clear what happens to predators who don't listen. But it's not just fear. There's something else happening that the competitor videos always skip over, because it sounds almost too strange to be true. You smell like nothing that has ever existed in nature. A sleeping human in a tent smells like synthetic fabric, processed food, soap compounds, insect repellent, and underneath all of it, something primate adjacent but completely wrong. A lion's predatory system is not a general kill anything mechanism. It is a precisely tuned biological program calibrated over millions of years to recognize specific prey. The shape of the movement, the sound of the breathing, the exact chemical signature of fear from a wildebeest or a zebra. You don't trigger any of it. You're not in the system. You're not prey-shaped, prey-scented, or prey-moving. To a predator's nervous system, you're an anomaly. And anomalies in the wild mean danger, not opportunity. And then there's fire. This one goes so deep it almost feels spiritual. Humans have been sleeping next to fire for somewhere between 1 and 2 million years. And fire is one of the only things on Earth that triggers a universal, automatic, hardwired fear response in virtually every land animal alive, including animals that have never seen fire, never been burned, never learned what it means. It's not a lesson, it's embedded. Every animal that wasn't afraid of wildfire burned. The ones alive today carry that terror in their cells. So when your ancestors lay down next to a flame every single night for 2 million years, they weren't just staying warm. They were broadcasting a signal into the surrounding dark, a signal that every predator in range received and understood instantly. Something here controls fire. Do not approach. They did that before farming, before language as we know it, before almost everything we call civilization. Fire first. And the predators learned. Now, here's the emotional truth that nobody says out loud. That tight, irrational fear you feel in the dark, that pulse of anxiety when you hear something move outside at night, that's not weakness. It's ancient programming. It's the same system that kept every single one of your ancestors alive long enough to produce you. You feel it because the humans who didn't feel it, the ones who slept too deep, who ignored the sounds, who didn't startle awake at the snap of a branch, they're not in your family tree. You are descended exclusively from the ones who felt it and survived. Your anxiety in the dark is a inheritance, a working inheritance. And on the other side of that feeling, outside in the actual dark, the predator is doing its own calculation. It's weighing the energy cost of a hunt against the risk of injury, against the unfamiliarity of your scent, against that ancient biological alarm screaming at it to move on. And almost every time it does. The attacks that do happen, and they are real, they do happen almost always follow the same pattern. A predator that's injured and can't hunt its normal prey, a predator that's starving because its territory is gone, a predator so exposed to humans it has lost its inherited wariness. The rules break when desperation overrides instinct, but that's the exception. And it's the exception precisely because the rule is so deep, so old, so written into both species that it holds across an entire planet, in every ecosystem, on every continent where humans and large predators share space. You are the apex animal, not because you're the strongest or the fastest or the most dangerous in a direct fight, because you scared an entire planet into leaving you alone while you sleep, and you did it so thoroughly that the fear outlasted the predators that first learned it and lives now in every animal descended from them. The wilderness didn't become safer. You became something the wilderness learned to avoid. So the next time you're lying in the dark, listening to sounds you can't identify, what do you think your ancestors felt? And do you think that feeling ever fully goes away? If questions like this are the kind that keep you up at night, you already know what to do.